the smartest film critic in the world, Cole Smithy.
Hi, this is Cole Smithy with ColeSmithy.com and your guide to what to see and what to avoid at the movies this week. Joss Whedon's sophomoric attempt at swimming in Kenneth Branagh's waters of expertise, namely adapting Shakespeare plays to film, is akin to watching a wet cat lick itself dry.
Not till God make men of some other metal than earth.
Curiosity succumbs to forced acting. Filmed in life-draining black and white, the acting approaches the level of a nearly competent community playhouse production. I take back everything bad I ever said about Lars von Trier's Dogville. I'd take that stagey, theatrically bound movie any day over watching Whedon's disastrous version of one of Shakespeare's fluffier plays. The irony is that Avengers director Whedon, with his comic book sensibilities, has reduced much about nothing to a movie with a graphic novel style of visual shorthand. Transposing the 16th century play, set in Italy, to modern-day Southern California proves troublesome for Whedon, who uses his personal Santa Monica home as the staging area for the comic melodrama to unfold. Secondary characters blend into an inscrutable background of narrative white noise as Beatrice, played by Amy Acker, and her sworn enemy Benedict, played by Alexis Denisof, vie for one another's romantic attention while in the company of many troublemaking knaves. Much Ado About Nothing is not one of Shakespeare's better plays to begin with. Still, Kenneth Branagh did some fun and interesting things with his 1993 version. Branagh's more experienced cast, which included Denzel Washington and Imelda Staunton, were undeniably better prepared to elevate the play. But there's no diminishing Branagh's influence as actor and director on his adaptation's success. Clark Gregg leads the cast as Leonardo with his mastery of iambic pentameter. Sadly, Julian Morgessi fails to make an impression as Leonardo's ripe-for-picking daughter Hero, whose amorous suitor Claudio resides under an equally callow spell cast by Fran Kranz. The filmmaker's amateurish attempts at slapstick humor, as when characters eavesdrop on conversations, fall flat. The cast of television actors, reference Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Angel, or Firefly, is simply not up to the task at hand. The question that hovers over Joss Whedon's half-hearted effort is why a comic book franchise director would challenge himself to such a self-evidently doomed proposition. Here is a rushed, low-budget Shakespeare adaptation that compares poorly to the majority of other such movies. Remember Mel Gibson's 1990 Hamlet? It's pretty good. Or what about Ethan Hawke's 2000 take on the same play? Its experimental style is much more effective than the cloistered suburban world that Whedon attempts to pass off as some weird wormhole of America's politically corrupt system. Whedon bit off more than he could chew. Whatever. People make mistakes and move on. Perhaps he's merely attempting to wean himself away from Hollywood comic book blockbusters.
For we are the only love gods.
If that is indeed the case, as I sincerely hope it is, then there's a chance he might just discover a genre he is better suited to develop and execute. Only time will tell. I give this disappointing Shakespeare adaptation a C-.
I wonder what it's like to be dead. I hope it's peaceful.
Although tamed by too many music video-styled sequences, director Lawrence Bloom's faithful adaptation of his mother Judy Blume's popular young adult novel has all the right instincts.
I hope you don't keep thinking about how you died. Or why.
Willa Holland is outstanding as the film's head, heart, and loins protagonist, Davy, a fierce force of feminine nature whose eyes do indeed match the feline demands of the movie's title, derived from a name she chooses for herself as part of branding her independence. The untimely death of her father sends the 17-year-old Davy on a culture shock relocation with her mother from New York City to Los Alamos, New Mexico. A brewing romance between Davy and a young American Indian man called Wolf, played by Tantaka Means, shows off Means' gift for sensitive understatement. Together, Holland and Tantaka share a fascinating romantic chemistry on screen that compensates partially for the source material's more prosaic dramatic elements. Tiger Eyes is an affecting coming-of-age drama. There won't be a dry-eyed audience member. It's intriguing to watch nuanced characters defy typecast in a heartfelt narrative form. The passion of the filmmakers is on the screen. I imagine Judy Blume is proud of her son's straightforward rendition of the story she wrote. I give this good coming-of-age drama a B. My sleeper pick is Richard Linklater's Before Midnight, and my guilty pleasure pick is Sightseers. My must-have DVDs are the terrific documentary Ferlinghetti, A Rebirth of Wonder from First Run Features, Scum Remastered Edition from Kino Lorber, and The Politician's Wife from Acorn Media. City of God epitomizes the phenomenal potential of cinema to tell richly textured tales, in this case of a vast, desperate community of peasants consumed by an endless cycle of violence. The picture sounds a clarion call for social reform for Brazil's crime-riddled, impoverished favelas, of which one in Rio de Janeiro inspires the name of this film. It's easier for this city's inhabitants to obtain guns and drugs than it is to get food. Basing the story on real events and people, co-directors Fernando Miret and Katia Lund employ a host of young non-professional actors residing in the Cidade de Deus slums where the story takes place. Each of the story's broad range of characters is an authentic representation of complex personalities because these naturally gifted actors are de facto playing themselves, albeit under Miret's and Lund's brilliant direction. Braulio Mantovani's methodically constructed screenplay is narrated with subjective clarity by Rocket, played by Alexandra Rodriguez, a young aspiring photographer caught between his deadly surroundings and his treasured sense of ambition. Like many teenaged boys, Rocket's desire to lose his virginity is on his immediate list, as is acquiring a better camera. Alexandra Rodriguez's organic empathy provides the movie with the charismatic protagonist the film needs to balance out the many tragic horrors that occur. Rocket's subjective experience puts a personal stamp on the senseless crime and violence that surrounds him at the hands of boys attempting to become men via the use of guns. The film's exceptionally measured, time-flipping format adds depth and context. A book-ended plot theme regarding the fate of an escaped chicken comes to historically relevant fruition through chapter sequences with titles such as The Story of the Tender Trio, The Story of the Apartment, and The Story of Lil Z. Teenage warlords recruit ever younger generations of drug-dealing armed boys whose easy and cheap killing is informed by police oppression and economic neglect. For the Brazilian authorities, favela dwellers are a disposable class of drug traffickers who provide cocaine and marijuana to Brazil's wealthy middle class. The Story of Lil Z establishes the maniacal personality of an 8-year-old boy who commits an unthinkable random act of mass murder as part of a robbery in which he participates for his entree to crime. An inveterate murderer, Lil Z soon takes over as the region's most influential crime lord. For all of the story's violent subject matter, there is also much natural beauty to savor. Cesar Charlon's dynamic cinematography captures Brazil's magnificent landscape in conjunction with a 360-degree awareness of location. Every aspect of the filmmaking that went into City of God exists as a virtuosic symphony of theme, character, context, and fact-based subject matter. To watch City of God is to become submersed in a hidden culture where life is cheap, but the humanity is vibrant. Thanks for watching, and visit colesmithy.com for more.